The Spinoff Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spinoff Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Kia ora, I'm Duncan Grieve, founder of The Spinoff. You can help us keep all of The Spinoff's award-winning journalism free for everybody by becoming a member today at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Reading about these well-known New Zealanders, they watch the same shows you did growing up. I think that's quite appealing to people and kind of connects people on another level.
Talofa lava, I'm Madeline Chapman, editor of The Spinoff. Welcome to Behind the Story, where I go behind the scenes of a big article on the Spinoff from the week. If you want a weekly rundown of some of the best reads from the Spinoff every Saturday, make sure you sign up to the weekend newsletter. Today I'm talking to Spinoff staff writer Tara Ward, who is the longest consecutive Spinoff writer in its history, outside of founder Duncan Grieve. Tara has been writing about television, particularly local television, every week since 2014. More recently, she's become the editor of the Spinoff's pop culture newsletter Rec Room and interviews local personalities for our weekend feature My Life in TV, which just celebrated its first birthday. Here's Tara Ward on Behind the Story. Kia ora, Tara.
Kia ora.
You are zooming in live from Dunedin.
Yes.
And you are outside of Duncan Grieve, who founded the Spinoff. We just confirmed that you are the longest contributing Spinoff writer in Spinoff history. You began way back in 2014 when it had basically just started. What were you writing back then?
Back then I was staying at home with my two kids. I think I had 2 under 3, and I was writing really bad recaps about the block. Just me at home thinking, people would love to hear what I think about the block. And just, I think the Spinoff was just starting, and I sent them in to Alex Casey, and she said, great, and kind of haven't been able to get rid of me since. Yeah.
And you've kind of traversed all sorts of territory in your time here, and one of the more recent things that you've done is kind of lead or be in charge of My Life in TV, which is a relatively new format. It just turned 1 year last weekend.
Yep.
Can you tell me a bit about what My Life in TV is and why you think it might have proven so popular? It has been extremely popular as a weekend staple format for us.
Yeah, I love My Life in TV. This is a feature that Alex Casey and I do every week. We kind of share the talking to famous New Zealanders about their life in TV, both their own careers, the shows that they've done and the shows that they've loved, but also the shows that they have grown up with and kind of influenced their lives, and the ads they can't stop thinking about, all those just kind of moments that we all share collectively, but it's really fun to dive into that sort of that private world of well-known New Zealanders who are these public figures but have these sort of private moments that we can all connect on. I think TV is a really great leveler. It's a great equalizer. Everyone watches it. Everyone has opinions on it. And I think reading about these well-known New Zealanders who have the same experiences as you do, or they watch the same shows you did growing up, I think that's quite appealing to people and kind of connects people on another level. And I think it's the nostalgia of it as well. It's a really warm trip down memory lane and kind of unlocks those pop culture moments of the past that we might have forgotten about. Like I interviewed Di Henwood a couple of weeks ago, which was lovely, and he was talking about busting open the Gin the Otter conspiracy on 7 Days, and Jin the otter was the otter who escaped from Auckland Zoo in about 2010, I think. And I hadn't thought about Jin the otter in years, and now I can't stop thinking about Jin the otter. So, yeah, it's just those beautiful TV nuggets, I think, that make people interested in reading about it.
And you talk to local famous people, basically, and I think we all agree at the Spinoff, and probably anyone who reads the Spinoff, that Tara Ward is probably the greatest appreciator of local television in terms of like both high-end drama, current affairs, morning breakfast shows. Like you feel like you are able to write about it in a way because you actually appreciate it and therefore can be critical at times of it as well. Has that changed at all as you have written about New Zealand television for almost 10 years now?
I don't know if it has. I think I still love it as much as I did when I started writing about it. I think, it shows who we are at a particular point in time, and I think that's really important to kind of celebrate that, even when it's, a bit silly or a bit unpredictable. I think what has changed is that we're writing about different shows as we kind of move away from that terrestrial live TV. I love doing a live TV recap, and we're kind of shifting away from that. But I think I've also appreciating the local TV a lot more as we, particularly this year, as we're losing a lot more of it. I think, what we're writing about has definitely shifted and evolved, but I think that passion for TV and the way it connects us and the way it shows who we are is still really strong.
And you've written about a lot of TV. You've covered a lot of TV over the years. And I think recently a couple of pieces of yours have kind of branched out from television and gone into the sort of political, social sphere. How has that been, kind of dipping your toe into these, I guess, more like political news elements as opposed to the lovely joy of television?
I've really enjoyed it, yeah. I think when I write about TV, I'm looking for the sort of the ridiculous or the bizarre, the weird moments, and politics has a lot of those as well. They're putting on a show too. They've got lots of characters in there as well, roles that they're playing. So I think, it has just as many bizarre, uniquely New Zealand moments as television does, and it's kind of nice to kind of try something different and dip into that world. Yeah.
Is there anyone that you feel like from the politics world in particular who you would love to talk to for My Life in TV?
Oh, that's a good question. Jacinda would be great. But they probably would all say, I'm just so busy, I don't watch much TV. And often a lot of people we interview for My Life in TV do say that, and then they come out with some real crackers, some real zingers of shows. So, I bet politicians have quite an eclectic taste in television.
Is there anything, you did publish something last week that was a kind of what we've learned from a year of My Life in TV. Was there anything that has come up that you kind of weren't expecting people to get emotional about, or didn't expect people to care so much about, since I think people can be quite dismissive of TV in general, and then especially local television?
Absolutely. There have been some really lovely moments in it. Often the first question we ask is, what's your earliest memory of TV? And for most people, that's usually about family and being in a room with other people and that moment of watching something when they're really young and feeling quite kind of safe. And sometimes people do sort of make these beautiful revelations. I remember Mark Richardson. I love talking to Mark Richardson, and he was talking about what he'd watched during lockdown and had said he had struggled a little bit. He had to isolate in his pool house and sort of compared himself at one moment to the polar bear at Auckland Zoo, just sort of trapped in this enclosure and kind of wandering around the pool a bit lost. And it was, the way he said it was quite bleak, but also quite beautiful as well. It was kind of quite quite a haunting image. And another one that I thought was lovely was when I talked to Michael Galvin, who plays Chris Warner on Shortland Street, and he talked about how he loves Time Team, the show Time Team, and gave this beautiful answer about how it reminds him that we're all just one part of history, that history will go on forever, and we're just a tiny piece in the puzzle, and kind of took us to this existential level, which I really love. And you never know what they're going to say. It's always a surprise, the answers people give, and I love that about it too, because you just can't guess what kind of TV shows people like.
And you also write Rec Room, which is the Spinoff's pop culture weekly newsletter, where you kind of cover off what's coming up in the week on TV and movies and podcasts, and also make a recommendation or multiple recommendations. Can you talk a little bit about what you are recommending this week?
Yeah, this week we're recommending Kid Sister, which is a new local comedy series from Simone Nathan, who's also the My Life in TV guest this week as well. There's a new lifestyle show on TV1 called My Clean Green Home. So if you want to be sustainable, they're going to give you some tips. And I think we've got some great recs from other spin-off people too about some older shows. Gabby Gladys is going to recommend Shameless, and I think we've got another couple in there as well. So, yeah, covering all the bases this weekend.
Thank you, Tara. I think I would be very surprised if a single person who has read the Spinoff for more than 5 minutes is not familiar with your byline. But if you are managing to listen to this and you are not familiar, visit thespinoff.co.nz to read all of Tara's work. It appears multiple times a week. Subscribe to Rec Room newsletter, and every Saturday check out My Life in TV. Thank you very much, Tara, for being on Behind the Story.
It's a pleasure.
That was staff writer Tara Ward on Behind the Story. I'll be back next week with another spin-off writer and another spin-off yarn. Thanks for listening.
Are you curious about how business can be better? I'm Simon Pound, and I host Business is Boring, a podcast where I kōrero with some of the most interesting people in entrepreneurship, commerce, and making things happen. Tune in to Business is Boring every Tuesday, brought to you by the Spinoff Podcast Network in partnership with Spark Business Lab.
Talofa lava. I'm Madeline Chapman, editor at The Spinoff. If you have the means, consider supporting our high-quality journalism by becoming a Spinoff member. Sign up now at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
The Spinoff Podcast Network.